What's going on, everybody? It's Aurora coming at you with a brand new video that I'm recording for the second time because my computer decided to crash right as I was about to finish it. But regardless, I hope you guys are having a Merry Christmas if you do celebrate it, because it is currently almost 2 p.m. on Christmas Day for me. What did you all get if you do celebrate? Tell me in the comments below, I would love to hear. But a bit out of nowhere, especially considering I never got a notification for it because the organization just didn't post about it on Twitter, they just posted it here on their website. We got a new archetype coming out of Cyberstorm Access called the Nemurelia archetype. So Nemurelia stands for Sleeping Girl or something like that, as you can clearly tell by this really cute artwork. And I have actually looked at all of these cards because, again, this is my second time recording the video. So it's less going to be a reaction to the cards and more of me just informing you of what they do. And it is definitely a very interesting archetype despite not being very great. And if that's all you needed to hear, then you can go ahead and click off the video. But let's go ahead and get right into this. So, starting off, we have Dreaming Nemurelia. This is the card that the deck centers around, and she is a level 1 light fairy pendulum with 0 attack and 1500 defense. She is a scale 8, and with the pendulum effect that once per turn, you can place a Nemurelia continuous spell from your deck or graveyard face up on your field, and if you do, add this card to your extra deck face up, and you cannot special summon Dreaming Nemurelia the turn you activate this effect. So they do have exactly one continuous spell they'll be able to place, at least for now, because this is only a 5 card support wave, but being able to place from both deck or graveyard is really good for recursion as well as consistency, because the continuous spell is really good for consistency overall. And then adding this to your extra deck face up may seem like, you know, just typical pendulum stuff, but it's actually like the entire gimmick of the archetype, and we'll go ahead and show that in a little bit. But it also has a really good monster effect in that it cannot be normal summoned or set, and it must be special summoned from your face up extra deck by having no cards in your extra deck other than Dreaming Nemurelia, and you can only special summon her once per turn this way. If she's special summoned, you can banish up to 1 card your opponent controls and or in their graveyard face down for every 3 of your face down banish cards, then shuffle your face down banish cards into the deck equal to the number of cards banished by this effect. So the other cards in the archetype do actually want you to play cards in your extra deck, so it's not like you're going to be playing extra deckless Nemurelia most of the time, but it does definitely want you to synergize with cards such as Pot of Prosperity and Extravagance, of course by not only requiring face down banish cards, but also banishing face down extra deck cards, and for every 3, I mean, come on, you're banishing 3 or 6 off of Extra Prosperity. It's a bit of a given. So that means you'll be able to get, you know, bare minimum 2 banishes essentially for free. Not to mention, it actually recovers your face down banish cards, meaning that not only could you in theory get an extra 6 use out, or extra 6 card use out of Extra Prosperity, but it also means that if your opponent's say using Diablosis and Castra, you can actually recycle your banished resources while also oppressing your opponent at the same time. Admittedly, the rest of the archetype isn't as amazing as she could be in a vacuum. However, they do all revolve around her and her effects, and they do have some interesting synergy together. So first off, we have Nemurelia's Dream Defender Aurora. It is a level 10 beast light with 2500 attack and 2000 defense. You can only special summon it with the first effect once per turn, and you can only use its second effect once per turn. If you have a face-up Pendulum in your extra deck, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you have a face-up Dreaming Nemurelia in your extra deck quick effect, you can banish a face-down card from your extra deck face down, and this card gains 500 attack for each monster your opponent currently controls until the end of the turn. So admittedly, being a quick effect, you know, you think it'd be a really good disruption card, but it just becomes a big bungus. I mean, maybe if it drained all of your opponent's stuff instead of boosting itself up, it would definitely be a lot better, especially because, you know, you'd be able to use it during the damage step, and that could help a lot in certain situations where your opponent's trying to punch over. But at the end of the day, it just ends up being a really, like, mediocre beater. I mean, you could get it to really big, don't get me wrong, but I mean, it's not like it can attack everything. So it's just kind of underwhelming, though it is, of course, a free special summon from hand. And much like the other one, they are both level 10, meaning that you can get some pretty easy rank 10 plays probably, you know, such as Gustav Max 4 game, or just going for a better beater in the form of Libe. Speaking of the other monster, this is Nemurelia's Dream Defender Coet, which is absolutely fucking horrifying. It is also a level 10 light beast with the opposite stats, that has the exact same restrictions of special summoning with the first effect once per turn, and the hard once per turn on the second effect. It has the exact same special summon condition as the Aurora, and when your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a Nemurelia card you control, and you have a face-up Dreaming Nemurelia in your extra deck, you quick effect you can banish a face-down card from your extra deck face down to negate the activation. So it once again ends up being a situation where it could have been a better card if the wording was different, like if it negated, you know, just anything in general instead of something that targets specifically. It'd probably be a lot better, as well as either negating and destroying or banishing or something instead of just negating the activation. Because, I mean, Negating the activation is fine for monsters, yeah, but if you're, like, using it against a back row and they just have another one, I mean, you're kind of fucked. Sorry if I sound really gross, by the way. I'm still a little bit, like, recovering from being sick, and my allergies are kicking my ass right now. I'm probably about to sneeze off camera in a second. But yeah, so both monsters are admittedly really disappointing when actually compared to Dreaming Nemurelia herself. What isn't that disappointing, though, is the Sleeping Beauty Tower of Nemurelia, which is the continuous spell. It is not a field spell, believe it or not. It says you can only use the first effect of this card's name once per turn. You can banish 2 face-down cards from your extra deck face down, add 2 level 10 beast monsters with different names from your deck to your hand, but you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck the turn you activate this effect except Pendulum monsters. And if a Nemurelia monster you control be destroyed by battle or an opponent's card effect, and you have a face-up Dreaming Nemurelia in your extra deck, you can banish a face-down card from your extra deck face down instead. So of course, being able to not just on activation, but just whenever you feel like banishing 2 face down from your extra deck to grab both of your monsters, that's actually pretty good. However, with the restriction, it makes it significantly weaker because you can't go into those rank 10 plays that I mentioned using Aurora and Coette. You just have to kind of like live with their terrible effects. So that's a little bit disappointing, but of course adding 2 free monsters from deck, you know, that's not really a bad thing like ever. And the protection not being a once per turn is pretty neat actually, and granted while it is only for destruction protection, combined with the Coette, it could be a little bit more threatening. And of course, it is thinning out your extra deck even more. The final card, probably one of the better ones of the set, is Sweet Dreams Nemurelia. It is a normal spell that says you can only activate 1 of it per turn. It says add a Nemurelia monster from your deck to your hand, and that includes all of them by the way. And then if you have a face-up Dreaming Nemurelia in your extra deck, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects when a Nemurelia monster is normal or special summoned for the rest of this turn. Also, you can place this card from your graveyard on the bottom of the deck, then target a Dreaming Nemurelia you control and add it to your extra deck face up. So this is actually a fantastic card by a lot of different means. So of course being Aurora is really nice, but also by having the Dreaming Nemurelia face up in your extra deck, you're essentially locking down your opponent from stopping you when you're going second, because a lot of people seem to underestimate, you know, people not being able to activate things in the timing window of a summon. So just going second in general, there's going to be a lot more different ways to kind of play around your opponent's disruptions, as opposed to just getting completely shit on because you're playing a really mediocre deck. But what I really like is the graveyard effect. So instead of just banishing it from grave like a lot of back row pieces, you get to get it back on top of putting a Dreaming Nemurelia in your monster zone back to your extra deck, turning all of your effects on live again. So basically, you can special the Dreaming Nemurelia, banish like a bunch of cards, and then immediately put it back into your extra deck by placing this on the bottom. And then so now not only do you have this for later, but your Dreaming Nemurelia is primed and ready for the next turn to go ahead and banish some more cards. But that is it for my little discussion over this archetype. What do I think about it? As I've mentioned a few times, again, because I have looked at it already before, I feel like the archetype is definitely incredibly mediocre. I mean, Dreaming Nemurelia as a gimmick, I think she's really cool overall. I think her, you know, consistency and her recursion in the pendulum ability is really nice. I like her on summon ability. I like her special summon condition because, yeah, while you do have to get rid of like your entire extra deck to do it, you do get to just continuously bring it out over and over again every turn. Granted, it is a hard once per turn, but it doesn't matter, whatever. Though I do wish that you could special summon her by different means, like maybe the normal summon lock, yeah, but like I wish you could like 1-for-1 or something. I feel like that'd be a little bit cooler. I think the monsters are just kind of terrible. I mean, don't get me wrong, an inherent special summon from hand is really neat, but it's a hard once per turn on top of like all of the good ways to access them locking you, and by all of I mean, you know, just this. But being able to add 2 from deck is really cool off of the continuous spell, but the lock just like prevents a lot of different capabilities you could have had, and you're just literally stuck with these really terrible big bungus bodies. I do like the protection though of Sleeping Beauty Tower, and again, I think Sweet Dreams Nemurelia is a fantastic card, but personally, like, I don't think this deck is going to be doing anything at all unless we end up getting, like, unless either someone comes out with, like, the most jank, like, stupid build ever, or we end up getting, like, some really good support coming out of it later. But I don't know, that's just my opinion. Let me know yours down in the comments below, because that's going to do it for the video. If you liked it, please sure to leave a like, as helps with this video and the channel into YouTube recommended. And if you like this content and you want to see more like it, like the rest of my review series, I try to review them as soon as they come out. However, I just kind of missed this one a little bit. I hope you guys don't mind, though. But if you do want to see more like it, then perhaps consider subscribing, because it supports the channel more than anything else, and it's absolutely free. Once again, I hope you have a very happy holiday season. If you do celebrate any holidays, tell me what you did or what you got in the comments below. That would be awesome. But once again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. This is Aurora, signing off.